Welcome to Every Nation Church Gateway. This is the Gateway Evening with your CEO, Pastor Poe Sain. Let's welcome our host for the night. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo-hoo. Wow, good evening everyone. Those of you who are watching live, good evening to you also. It's I think it's heavy rain outside. I think last 2 weeks already has been heavy rain. Yeah, we need to send up to heaven a memo, send an instruction, no rain for the next 1 year. For Wednesday nights only, yeah, of course. All right, go. Good to have all of you here. Despite the rain, we see you here. Really want to commend you for giving up your time and coming to join us. But of course, today we have again Jonathan and Wei-Li. Jonathan, as you know, is somebody whom we are very familiar with. He's part of family, Every Nation family, and he's always investing his time, to teach us and to give us insights as to culture and communication normally, right? So tonight we're going to, in fact, he has spoken twice before, as you know. But tonight is special because we have asked him to invite one of his key staff to join him so that we can ask his key staff, is it really working, all the things that he told us, all right? How many of you want to know whether all that he taught us is working, right? All right, so that was the challenge to him, and he says, on. So that's why we invited him back. And so without ado, can I invite both Jonathan and Wei-Li? All right. Jonathan, you take the seat on the left. Right, Wei-Li? Right. Okay. As you know, we have already, Jonathan has been introduced so many times before, so I will not again introduce him, but we do not know much about Wei-Li. So I'm going to open the floor for Jonathan to introduce her a bit, and then from then on, you will go straight to your presentation. And okay, so I'm going to leave them now, all right? Another big round of applause for them, please.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. Just a quick show of hands. This is your first time hearing me speak. 1% only. The rest of you have heard me speak before. 2% have not heard. Yeah, the rest of you heard. Okay, cool. How many of you have heard Wei-Li speak before? Okay, good. Okay, so Wei-Li, could you please quickly do the honors to kind of introduce yourself, what you do, and what's your history and all that?
Hi everyone, my name is Wei-Li. This is also my first time hearing myself speak in an event like this. So it's also very new to me. I'm currently the Regional Marketing Manager for Reapfield KW Malaysia. Previously, I was actually doing missions work as a volunteer for 4 years, and I just came back. So I'm currently now with Reapfield.
And what were you doing before volunteering work?
Before volunteering work, my first job was in an advertising agency, and then I moved into F&B marketing, and then that's when I went over aboard for voluntary work.
Which F&B marketing company did you work with?
Oh, I have to review here. I was with the big group.
Okay, the big group, okay. BIG. So the way they did the posters and all that, so she was part of that journey when I think setting up big and all that. So really just follow the script.
Okay. I know there was a script. Okay, sure.
Just joking. I think just a quick recap. Let me see. Is this on? Okay. Just a quick recap. I came in, I think, a couple of weeks ago. I think 3 or 4 weeks ago. Kind of talk about the way we run our business in the new norm, the way we should be thinking about our business, the way we should behave, and I shared these 5 key things to kind of think through and treat our business like an emergency room. So if you don't remember this, go watch the video again. I think it's somewhere on the Facebook page. It's archived already. You kind of get that context in. And I thought Pastor Poe Sain has spoken to me and said that why don't you? Is there a way you can kind of like don't just share, but is there a way you can have some testimony or some examples of life? How do you do it? So I thought that's the objective of us coming together today, to show you what we have done and what we are doing right now in the spirit of the emergency room concept. Is that okay today? Is that good or good? Yeah, so today we're going to go into and talk a little bit in depth about the marketing element of how we do it from an emergency room standpoint. Is it okay for me to start doing right now? Okay, cool. So I think the first thing that we want to talk about is when you run an emergency room setup in business, when you run your current business in the new normal right now, the one thing, the first domino to take care of, it's managing expectations. Everyone say expectations. Now, this is one that I believe, for me personally, is one of the most challenging thing to do, because bosses assume everybody understand what they say. Correct? All the bosses says yes, Okay. But we assume that our staff or our team members would understand and share the same perspective of where we are right now. So something happened during the MCO period. We were in a difficult position because no business is designed for a zero revenue business. You understand what I'm trying to say? That there were months that we were at zero revenue. There's no business design or no business model designed to do that. So then how do you then communicate and explain to your staff what's an emergency room like, where we are right now financially, what's the position we are in, and what's going to happen if certain things doesn't happen. So I'm going to quickly pass the time to Wei-Li to kind of share with us, share with the audience here today, when we had those tough conversations, we had to make adjustments. Everybody, the salaries in the whole entire company had to be adjusted. We had those tough conversations, and we had to double up our work at the same time. So really share with us, how do you feel about those conversations, and how was this conversation like for you during those time of those tough conversations?
I think first and foremost, John and the management team, they were very transparent. They really got us as a team, and they kind of told us about the situation of the company. So I think we really appreciated that, because I think there was transparency. We knew where our company was at that state and at the point. So when you're talking about how was it like when we were on the receiving end, for me, well, it was an interesting point, because I think it was just a day before MCO lockdown that we were just kind of like John said, hey, get ready, because I think this will probably be our last day in the office, or like working in the office on that day. So we were kind of like, whoa, okay, this is like real and this is happening. But I think it was that at that very point we realized that things were going to change from now on. So for me, I think personally, I just take things as it comes. So yeah, it was very intense at first. Like, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know what to expect. But I think along the way, because there was constant communication, in that sense, we were guided through in that sense. We weren't left hanging.
How did you feel about your job security at that point in time? How did you feel?
I felt quite secure. To be honest, yeah, I felt like, well, because we were given a big task at that point, because we had to pivot and change how we were doing things. So I knew at that point that we were given a new task or a new role. Even though I'm from the marketing department or doing the marketing side of things, there were different roles assigned to us during this point of time where we had to change. Where, for example, we had to learn how to use Zoom. We had to learn how to be virtual supports on Zoom, which, I mean, because we all come from very different roles and backgrounds, but all of us had to learn how to do these different things that were more tech-savvy, more virtual. So at that point, we kind of realized that, hey, I think I'm not just limited to just being a marketing person, but my role has expanded in the sense from then onwards.
How did you feel when there was that so-called, and I think it's still pretty similar right now, you not only look at marketing, you look at other stuff, and how does it feel where you have added things to your plate? How do you feel towards the company and towards yourself?
How do I feel towards the company, to myself? I think in an aspect, I see that I think we were able to do more things than I thought I could do. So it was interesting to see how far I could stretch myself, or how far we could grow as a team, that we weren't just confined to our respective roles, but actually we realized that, hey, actually throughout this whole season, there were so many other things that we all could do, and a lot of new roles or expansion was seen in that sense in each individual.
What's that one role that is outside of what you were supposed to do in your JD that you find that, wow, that's something that I didn't know I could do? What was that?
What was that one role? I would think it is being able to help with certain parts of training, getting training sorted out, even when we have new potential agents in a sense coming into our events, we will also kind of like train in the sense to kind of talk to them about, hey, how is this, what do we have in our company? So it was also a lot more of like a salesperson's job, I feel. So it was very different. We had to learn how to be tech savvy with what we were also offering. So there was a lot of different roles and hats that we had to wear at one point.
Awesome, thank you. So I think one of the things that I want to bring out here in terms of managing expectations is that there are a lot of things you cannot manage, but there are certain things you can manage by giving them clear, big picture that things, number one, is very clear. You say it's going to pivot and change. You've got to get ready for that. You need to know where's the condition of the company. You need to know that all of us is like all hands on deck. So that's the attitude and the approach. And I think that has not changed right now. Am I right? It has not changed yet right now. So I think would you agree that we are doing more than we were doing before COVID?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Way more. I think doubled or tripled.
Okay.
From last year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In terms of workload and stuff that we are running right now. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next point. The next thing is, the second thing that we are learning right now in this season, in this emergency rule season, is that the strategic approach may not be the best way for us to run our business, because we don't know what's going to happen 3 months down the road. There are so many things that we are not sure. Political scene, not sure. The health scene in the city, not sure. Is the markets really going to open up? Is the borders opening up? How far is RMCO? What is after RMCO? Could there be a different kind of a MCO? We don't know, right? So this season is really about survival. I share about being in the survival mode. Get cash flow as much as you can. Manage your expenses, but get very tactical about it. There is a difference between tactical and strategic. Right? So there are 6 steps there I now, in terms of for us to take tactical approach, you must have 6 key elements. Number 1, there must be a goal to achieve for every single tactic you do. So I give you an example. You all go watch all this police drama, this SWAT one. You all go watch it or not? 5 kill one. Okay. So if you watch those SWAT team and they got operasi or they got operation or they got special ops or whatever, right? There is always, they're called tactical units, because there's always an objective and a goal. They don't go and attack the enemy for the sake of attack. There is a goal one. Either is to retrieve what we call precious cargo, means things that's important, or information, or to go and eliminate one person, right? There is a tactic to focus on a goal. There must be an objective, right? So the goals could be, for example, in our business could be, how many agents are we going to recruit right now? How many production agents do we want? There must be a certain goal, right? And what are the tactics? Do we go direct? Do we call them one-on-one? Do we create training programs? What are the action steps, right? What are the resources that we will deploy? What's the timeline like for this to happen? Who is responsible? So if you want to be tactical about stuff, right, these are the 6 key things that I believe that is necessary for us to run being tactical. And I'm going to show you a quick example. I think I showed this before during this is our what we call a 30, 60, 90 plan. Something that the whole company is now running. We are planning our business every 30, 60, 90 days. Right? You can see there are people, let me see. What's the light? Middle one. We cannot see. Never mind. Okay, so you can see that champions are people who, the abbreviations, CEO, Christine Ong, whoever is in the first is in charge. Second one is supporting, right? What are the execution pointers? What is the main items? What is the timeline like by when things must be happening, right? So this is an example of a 30, 60, 90 plan that we are now doing. So we have done our 30, 60, 90 up to, I think, September, and then we are moving to October, November, December soon already. So really in your journey right now with us, looking at being very tactical, trying to be as precise as we can, how has that changed for you in the approach of your work right now?
I think there's a clearer direction of where we're heading towards. I feel there's more certainty, because I'm a person who loves certainty in a sense. I like plans. So I think having this as a group as a whole gives a lot more, a bigger sense of security and certainty.
In whatever you can understand what we are trying to do as a company, what's our number one goal right now?
It's to recruit.
Recruit what kind of agents?
Recruit cappers.
There you go. So every single person in my team right now knows that that's the goal. A capping agent means an agent with a certain production level. We call it a capping agent, right? So our goal is to do whatever we are doing to go and get that done. So our tactics, this is our tactics right now. That's our goal, this is our tactics, that's our timeline, these are our PICs involved. Have you ever done this kind of work somewhere else before COVID? How does it look like before COVID and after COVID?
Not so, oh, you mean in our current company?
Yes.
So, not so much in detail. I mean, we always have like a plan of like, okay, this is going to happen for the next few months for marketing, but not as detailed as this, like a 30, 60, 90.
Yeah. So this is basically a tactical plan for the entire company, and we expect to hold everyone accountable. We expect every head of department, like what Wei-Li is running, to have her own 30, 60, 90 to hit that particular objective. So this is basically, I give you an example what Wei-Li is doing. So 2 months ago, we decided that we want to do a campaign during Malaysia Day, right? So the campaign, by the way, this campaign, when did we came out with this campaign idea, this phrase, this tagline, when did we came out?
3 days ago.
3 days ago, okay. So, but we want to do something about Malaysia Day, right? So Malaysians need to get closer to Malaysia Day to come up with the campaign name one. That's the way it is, because it's fast, right? It's very fast. When we were executing our first campaign call, I've decided, I suddenly wake up one day and I thought, really, I think we need to do something about Malaysia Day. That was what happened. I said, really, go do it. That was 2 months ago, right? While executing a campaign, she had to piece together certain things. And I think this is an example of her marketing 30-60-90. How does it work? You have a team of people. You have a copywriter with you. You have a designer, and then someone helping with operations and all that. How are you communicating this, and how do you work with your team based on this kind of planning structure?
So because things are very intense in the last few months, so and we can't really meet physically to have meetings or whatnot, right? We can't just talk to one another like how we used to. So what we do every day now, every morning we would wake up and we will have our meetings at 9 o'clock to 9:30. It's like a daily huddle that I do with the team. So we just kind of touch base on what we have to do for the day. Because things are quite intense, there's a lot of changes throughout the day, so we always use that as a touch point for us to just keep in touch of what we have on our plates on the day itself.
In some of this journey as we are doing, I'm sure there are certain circumstances where the team couldn't meet certain deadlines. How do you have that conversation with people like me?
I beg for extension. So what we would do is just, I would, usually if a certain situation like this happens, I think we're a company that we're all very open as well. So I'll just talk to John about it, explaining the reasons why, and then giving valid reasons on why the time is needed. Usually time is probably needed because maybe there's a lot of changes that has to be done. So usually we would just be able to explain clearly in a sense.
Okay. There were times that you felt that I don't think this is possible, right? I'm sure you have that many times, right?
Yeah, many
times. But there is that, what's driving you to work from thinking that it's not possible to, I think it's possible?
Well, I think that's a very long journey of discovery. So every time when there's a new campaign or a new plan that we have in mind, I always think like, okay, it's not going to be very possible because of the certain things that we need to do to achieve that. But I think what helps along the way is just constant brainstormings with different people. So I won't only just limit to just brainstorming with our team alone, but we will sometimes pull John in, or even pull other people from different areas to kind of just give us an insight on what they think about this campaign or these plans that we have. So I think just knowing that we don't succeed alone really helps to just help us be a bit more open-minded, and that helps make things possible because people they can contribute very different ideas to how we first see it. So yeah.
So one of the things that you have heard here is no one succeeds alone. So if you are in an organization or you're working in a role in that organization right now, you must embrace this new normal that no one succeeds alone, because in order for businesses to survive today, speed is your friend. Perfection is the enemy. I repeat, speed is your friend. Perfection is your enemy. So that's why I think it's a journey for us to come into that kind of dynamic in order for us to kind of move forward. I want to quickly show you, can I show you some things that the campaign that they did? Yes. Can I? I want to quickly show you a video.
Who we are, nobody can change that. Tak ada siapa boleh tukar that. Satu Malaysia menghibah.
Well, the one thing that comes to mind in Reapfield culture is that I like the chemistry because everybody is just like family. And if there's any issues, any problems, right, we all try to solve it together. That's where the sharing and caring culture comes in.
Because, you know, we are all different, but we are always looking to find common ground between one another and connect.
最喜欢我们就是可以和睦共处。And then 真的是很像一家人，一个大家庭。
For example, if we heard one of us is sick, then we get together and go and visit them.
It's not always purely about profitability and money, but it's also about relationships.
I mean, I feel a lot more older than many other agents here. Everybody respects everybody in the team.
Saya masih ingat masa saya sakit kan, saya pergi tengok Rim buat roadshow. Selalu dia nampak saya, dia akan menangis.
Sebab kita selalu jumpa dulu hari-hari, and then kita pun miss kan, kita pun rindu, and then semangat dia bawa I kuat sampai sekarang.
Reapfield is a very Malaysian company, I would say. Some companies tend to be very English-speaking or very Chinese-speaking or BM-speaking, but in Reapfield,
It's a muhibah kind of company. Ada Melayu, ada Cina, ada India, ada sikit-sikit Mak Saleh.
I see all kind of races, whether Chinese or Malay or Indian, and I notice a lot of Punjabis also lately.
All of agents akan bawa setiap budaya masing-masing.
What's beautiful is I actually see everyone working together without any problems.
Relationship is dah macam kakak dengan adik actually. Bila dia sakit tu, I rasa kita patut help each other, and then itu yang culture Reapfield ajar.
In our company especially, doesn't matter what race you're in, if any of us are facing difficulties, right, definitely all of us will do our best to help each other.
So my belief system last time, aku boleh buat ni je. So sekarang ni, my belief system is bigger. Saya cakap tak apa, kalau dia boleh buat, aku pun boleh buat.
What we did during the MCO time, where I think we have run a total of 110 different trainings, both done by local and as well as international speakers. But the key point to note here is that we have done all these different trainings in all 3 different languages.
我们 Reapfield 是很多是我们的年龄都是有些很大，不是只是单单在那个 range 20、30岁，你看去到70岁也是有。
We all have an opportunity to share ideas.
that if you have a good idea, you can suggest it, and then you can execute it as well to make things easier.
The platform is there. It's now up to each and every one of us to actually come forward and make ourselves heard.
So that made me think about all the kinds of things that we can do in Reapfield.
We want to provide the best value for our agents, regardless of whichever race you are in. As long as you come into this company, come into this culture, right, we want you to succeed in this company, in this business.
Age is no barrier joining Reapfield KW Malaysia, because here, age, religion, race, nothing works. It's just us being human, that's all.
Less than 2 months of planning, and this was shot 2 weeks ago. How do you think it's an okay video? Can pakai or not? right? So I just want to share this because I wanted you all to see the possibility that during a very intense moment, it is the best time for us to stretch the capacity that we have. And I always say this, that God has created us human beings with immense capacity for us to expand. So really, how did you feel about going through this journey of running a campaign in such intensity, and it's back-to-back campaigns, and we're going to launch a new campaign later that I haven't told you yet. So how do you feel?
Cannot sleep, but but yeah, I think with it, of course, it comes a lot of intensity, right? But there also comes a lot of opportunities where we can work together as a team. So I feel like along the way, when we do more of this, there's always more chances for us to work together with the different people, with the different agents that we have. So I guess in a way, at the end of it, when you see the product, when it comes towards the very end of the campaign, when it's launched, we will all feel a sense of fulfillment in that sense that, oh wow, we actually did it. But the journey of it, of course, is always very stressful. Of like, there's always changes. There's always like people suddenly can't make it for the shoot, and then you have to kind of like find someone else to do it. So there's a lot of interviews that you have to do prior to getting the right people in. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes in that sense. So during those moments, it's always a lot of like chaos, I feel. But I think along the way, as we were just talking to the agents, it's also learning and hearing from their side of the story and how they are, how do they view the company. So I think it has been a great journey in that sense, just being able to hear from them personally as well.
Okay, I'm going to quickly move on. These are some of the collaterals that we are launching. By the way, you're the first people to see this campaign. We are launching this campaign tomorrow morning, 8:30. So, but you get to see this first lah. So my ask is like, share and post and tag or whatever you can do on Facebook when you see this, okay? So, yeah, so the last thing that we talk about, the first one was, what was the first one again? Sorry. The first one is that you have to have managing expectations of your team members. Number 2, you need to have tactical planning. Number 3, you need to have accountability to hold your team members accountable to the goals and objectives that you want to hit. And number 4, I think today that you want to try to end this session by talking about having effective communication. I think communicating with your team members, with everyone in your organization right now, it's even more critical. And you hear the story just now about when I ask a question, how secure is your job? Things like that. There must be that conversation. Really, how do you feel about the communication that we have in our team or with your own team and in the company? How do you feel that it has changed since this crisis has hit us?
I think we've been talking a lot more, talk to them more than my family, I think. But it has, because we constantly have also meetings together to just touch base every day for half an hour, or sometimes even more. And of course, aside from that, there's constant Zoom meetings that we also have to talk about other things. So because we can't see each other physically, I think that's where the gap is. But with Zoom and with what we have, because we're now all working from home, I think communication is constant. There's a lot of clarity with it.
Just to quickly share, not to boast, but our numbers that for August just came out. We are at all-time high for this year. August was my all-time high. July was my all-time high. June was my all-time high. So every month, we are going all-time high in our production. I have a double-digit growth for the month of August, 34% growth in terms of revenue. My August this year, it's about 28% better than August last year, on a month. So what I'm saying is, in this crisis, there is really a lot of opportunity for us to increase our capacity. Because something happened to the competition. A lot of competition, they stay silent. A lot of people, they feel that they don't know what they're supposed to do. They don't do anything. So my urge to everyone is to start doing something or to keep doing something, because that's where I think the biggest battle is. It's ourselves. How can we move forward? Okay, so with that, I'm going to pass the time back to Pastor Posing quickly to do some Q&A or whatever we have. So I hope you all have gained some insights today. Yes or yes? Okay.
Wow, thank you so much. How many of you learned something already? Wow, Pastor Bernard is here already. Welcome him, Pastor Bernard. Okay, so, as I mentioned earlier, we asked Jonathan to come back basically to see whether all his strategies did actually work, all right? So we didn't pakat on all these questions. I just formulated it while I was sitting down there. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to ask maybe 1 or 2 questions or maybe 3 questions. And meanwhile, can you all please think of something to ask him? All right? So get ready your questions, how it's going to apply in your own business, or you have some things to clarify, okay, on some of the techniques that they have used. Can they actually work in your own business? So if you want to ask that, please be ready to ask. All right? So I'm going to ask the first question. Just a warm-up. Okay, just a warm-up. All right? How long have you been with Reapfield?
I think 3 years.
3 years,
Yeah,
good.
3
So you have, it's been reasonable time that before the crisis, you have actually known the company and known Jonathan. So what one word would you describe him as a boss?
Oh, very passionate.
Wow, this is really from your heart. Very good. All right, question 2, I'm going to ask you. In this current crisis mode that you are in, all right, and you said that no business has a model for 0 revenues, okay? How would you rate him in handling this whole situation? 10 would be best.
10 lah, 10. 10.
What, 10 over 10? Wow.
10 lah.
Are you going
Face a
do
bit.
you actually gauge their bonus? Do you review their... no.
Have to say better things, right? Upfront. Record it.
I have already set the expectation this year.
But she's a smart girl, right? She's very smart, right? She knows how to answer. All right. So you make sure that the bonus is okay, yeah? All right. Okay, I'm going to ask you another question, then I'm going to pass it back to the floor. All right. If you're looking for that one big change in the company since you started, okay? I mean, there are many things that have been happening. You know, you did a lot of programs and all that. But if you're looking for that one big change that has happened, what would that be? Yeah, that has changed. You know, the way you work or what, you know?
Looking towards to or have what I've seen?
Has seen already. What has happened already?
I think there's a lot more togetherness, I would say. I think people are starting to be integrated into the culture that we're trying to form or build. And I see that happening.
Wow. So you're saying that Reapfield has been in existence for the last how many?
36 years.
36 years. And in the last maybe 3-4 months, you see that the transformation has done greater work in terms of unity, in terms of passion among the people. Wow,
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Wow. Can you give a big round of applause to Jonathan? I mean, this is a testament. You know, I'm going to put somebody on the spot right now, you know. I'm going to ask Steve. Okay, Steve, I know we didn't prepare this, but you are actually part of the team, right? I mean, you're actually part of Reapfield in a sense. You are an agent there also. Okay, what is that one thing you would say, you know, having, okay, let him get to his...
Hi, Steve.
That was a warning shot. So you joined the company, all right? And,
Yes, I joined the company last
and you
year.
listened to what has been said so far.
Yep.
Okay, to what degree would you agree that this is happening?
Okay, I agree. Maybe 80% or 90%.
Wow,
Yeah.
80 or
Because,
90%. Okay.
Because last time I think I quite lost in this property industry, but recently, Reapfield, I think there's a group of coach. They actually did very good job on recruiting and then really guide those new agents. I'm part of it.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's a good validation there. Remember Steve, he's part of our church actually, okay?
Yes. Steve, you're in MC2, right?
Yeah, MC2. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to open the floor for you guys. Okay, yeah, Joseph, come. If you have a question, come outside now, okay, and come to the middle there, and then state your name and then ask the question, all right? Thank you.
Question for Jonathan. You mentioned that cash flow was very important in the beginning. Run the company like emergency room. But you mentioned about recruitment, you mentioned about campaign. All this requires spending money.
Yep.
How do you justify this investment in these uncertain times?
So, good question. So, first thing first, you must chop expense. You must cut expense in this crisis. You must reallocate your assessment, your resources. That was the first thing we did in the first 3 weeks of the MCO. My number one thing is to how can I trim down? I managed to trim 41% of my costs. I give up my office space for my regional team where Wei-Li and I sit. We now do not have an office space. I don't even have a table in the company. Because that's how extreme it was. And we didn't spend a lot of money in marketing. I think like very little. And we figured out what's the best, most effective way to spend that money, that little money we have to do marketing. So we are very cautious about costs, and we look at opportunities where they were not costing any cash, but just time, effort, and people, right? So that's the first thing that we did. I think as long as the goal of hitting our goal, if someone came to me with a proposal, say, John, if you spend 10,000, great. Is this gonna help me hit my goal? And tell me the steps and the certainty and what it is like for me to hit my goal faster than where I am right now, I will listen to you. But I already cut my expense, right? Because of this, the past 3 months, after all this cut of expense, right now my cash flow is 3 months. I have 3 months operating expense cash in my account. Wow. Right? We were almost negative because we cut expense, we trim ourselves very, very lean. Now we are safe. There are more security right now for everyone because we know the next 3 months, if I have zero revenue, it's okay. I can tahan 3 more months. Right? Does that make sense? Does it help you? Yeah. So the financial planning is very critical.
That's amazing. That's great. Who else? Any more questions? Yes, Simone.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
Hi. So I have one question is that you mentioned that in August, your sales actually 28% more than last year August. Yes. So in this like MCO critical time, what one thing that you did it right to get this sales growth? Yeah.
That's a very good question. I think engaging the agents, being very truthful and honest, and take a very strong leadership role to tell them the hard facts. I went in there and tell them, guys, if you don't pick up your act today, 3 months to 6 months later, you will have a challenge feeding your family. And I will have the same challenge as well. So my goal is to get you up your butt and start doing some work, and we just do this together. That was the first thing. I bring reality to them to see a perspective. Because a lot of people, you can't blame them, no. This has never happened before, no. No school or no college or no degree or no PhD has ever taught us to go through a pandemic like this. No one. But you've got to make that right stand as a leader to say that we are in crisis. Be very clear and transparent. This is the crisis. Now that we know the crisis, you already managed the expectation that we are in crisis mode. Now what do we do? So I think the first thing that we did, we engage them and we tell them, go out there and win market share. That was my number one message. Go out there and win market share. Go and do things that people are not willing to do. You go do it, you will win that market share. So that was the approach. Now we had a lot of trainings. We hear the video just now, the 110 trainings in multiple language. We are training morning, noon, and night. Right? After today, after this session at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I go back, got a training session. From 9 to 1 a.m.
Wow. Thank you.
Right, so these are the things, this is how intense it is. Right, guys, you can feel my intensity, right? Ezekiel, go ahead.
So it means no supper with us anyway. It's okay.
I got one
okay,
question.
I have a follow-up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I got one question for Mr. Jonathan. Just now I see the slide. So I see the slide, I found it 3 things. Okay, the groups, the peoples. First is share the knowledge. Share the knowledge, experience to each other. Second is care for each other. Third one is honest for each other. Is it this the 3 basic principles you apply in your company? Or other things else?
Let me try to think through. I think if you want to care first, you must come from truth.
Yes.
You must come from the point of truth as much as you can. Be very truthful and open about things and be very clear with them. I mean, some of the conversation I have with them is like, guys, if we don't pull through this, the company may not exist. I was very clear with them. I was not afraid to tell the truth because the truth sets us all free. Wow. Right? So it's a non-negotiable. The next thing is, okay, what can we do right now since we know that we are all aligned? And this is the season that you will know people in your team, are they aligned or not aligned? Do they want to align or they don't want to align? This is where that will show up. So I think these are the things that we did. We definitely care for them, but we are also truthful for them, to them. And let's share this burden together. This is not only one person's responsibility, it's all our responsibility. We are now part of this ship, right? What can we do together to make this float and do better? You cannot succeed alone. You cannot succeed alone. I have no time to look at the details of the marketing. I mean, I told Wei-Li literally, this is the date we're going to launch. You go do it. Then after that, she go do her magic. I don't know what happened actually. I honestly don't know what's happening one.
So what you're saying, there's a lot of empowerment in your
Not
company.
empowerment. I allowed them to fail and say sorry. It's okay one. You go and fail because in failing you will learn. I rather have people failing forward than not doing anything. Right? That's important. Yeah.
That's great. Who else? Okay, Joshua.
Hi, my name is Joshua. I'm just curious because you say one of the goal is to hire more agents. I just want to ask, what's your perspective in the property market right now? Are you foresee that there are growth coming soon, or yeah?
So the goal of hiring the agent is not because we are seeing growth, it's because we need more market share. And having better agents and good agents in the company will give me opportunity to win more market share. In a challenging market in any business, the market will get smaller, right? So the one who survives is the one that has the most market share. So that's our strategy right now. Okay.
One more question is that how do you motivate the staff? Like, because you say some of them, they have never gone through a pandemic, right? What is the approach that you have managed to motivate them and bring them out and then, so that they achieve the goal?
Very good question. Tell them the truth. Tell them that this is an opportunity for you to grow. This is an opportunity for you to get out of to learn from a crisis. Make a decision that you want to be part of this. And give them that space and give them that opportunity to make that decision. People like to be empowered, right? So as a leader, that's what I would encourage you to do. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to have a follow-up question with what Joshua asked and also what Simon asked. All right, earlier you have this very detailed micro-planning, this 30, 60 days kind of thing, right? So that was targeted towards, the objective of that is really to monitor recruitment, essentially, right? But at the stage when the crisis is at its height, and that like you said, there are no revenues at all, okay? Why did you not just say we will increase commission rates for your agents so that they are encouraged to do more, so that links directly to your profit? Why did you just only look at recruitment, and how do you justify that?
I think our business is, during this season, right, the agents were completely lost. Some were so devastated they thought that, hey, is my career over? So you got to bring some clarity to them, you got to bring some truth, and you got to give them strategies and systems and models to follow through. Now, giving them more commission doesn't mean they will make more money. Helping them to fish potentially will help them make more money. Right? During MCO, we recruited 79 agents in 1 month. 30% are agents from other companies. Because they were lost. They were looking for a place where there were guidance and there were clear system and models and direction. In a crisis, what is always lacking is leadership. You just need to show up and take that charge and be that leader, and you will realize that so many people are attracted to you, right, as a team. The past 2 months, we recruited 62 people. Last month, I had 49 people join us, right? So we grow 55% 1 year on year. Last year, I had 540 agents. This year, I got 800 over agents in a span of 12 months. So you could take that leadership role, you gain that market share, and you will win with the right people. Because I think in this crisis, the serious people will show up. That wants to stay in this industry, right? I think in any industry it's the same. They will show up, and you just got to be there to make sure that they are part of your family, right? That's our strategy.
Oh, great. Anybody else? One last question. No? Oh, my wife. Okay.
You want to ask him or me?
She asked me all the questions at home already.
Hi, Jonathan. Having heard what you said, I understand that there's a shift in your Reapfield's business. From selling properties, now you are actually recruiting more agents, right? So going forward, do you see that this recruitment of agents will be your revenue driver, or are you going to? Is that will be your new focus, and then your selling properties will be your secondary focus?
So let me throw this question.
Meaning to say that,
do
you see that this
the change of focus.
agents, this recruitment of agents is going to be your revenue, or rather your driver for your revenue?
Let me try to test Wei-Li now and see what Wei-Li thinks. Wei-Li, what do you think?
I think eventually when you recruit more agents, then the sales will come in lah. So it's actually naturally, when we actually do hire the right people in, the right production level will come in, and that will give you the properties, more properties will be sold in that sense. So it's like a ripple effect.
So I think the market is always looking for better quality right now. There's higher expectation. The consumer demands better. Having a big size is only one thing, but having good quality in a big size is also very important. So we have pivoted from selling properties right now as a company. Our main number one business is consultant training technology for the real estate business. We are not going to compete with our agents. We are going to help them and support them, and it's going to be very agent-centric. So that's the shift in our approach, and that's the disruption. Because now the agents come in, they are now the bosses. They are now partners with us. They are now running their own business within our business. Hope that makes sense. So that's the model. Thank you for asking a good question.
That's a very good question. Okay, anybody else? If not, I will ask the last question. Anybody else? Right, those at the back? Any questions to ask? No? Okay, this is a follow-up to my earlier question. Okay, so you have this intense 30, 60 days monitoring system, all right? How effective was it? And if, let's say, because you talk about accountability also, but if the targets are not met, how do you handle that? Although she said momentarily that you have a conversation on it, but essentially, you know, I mean, you talk about accountability. What are you going to do if people don't meet the targets?
So we exercise grace by having conversations to bring reality and say that, hey, this is what we're supposed to do, this is not showing up, what's going on? And all the time, most people fail to show up in hitting their objectives is because something is not right somewhere, personally, generally from my experience. Something is going on one. And that is something that you need to go and find out as leaders. That relationship is very important because if something is not, for example, something is not right at home, something is not right physically, whatever that case may be, and there were certain cases that we have, certain things are happening at home that's not working right. So you need to go and understand that situation and work with them to support them and give them more space, but give them a very clear space. What does that space look like? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 8 months, whatever that is, 1 month, 2 weeks. But you must be very clear. And at the same time, ask them, in this situation, how can this be done? They must take ownership of that responsibility, but they are given certain space and time. Right? I think that's important. That's very important. But there will be certain circumstances where people just don't show up. And then you give them the due course and you be very clear with them. The conversations I have is, I think this opportunity may not be suitable for you. Let's look at transiting you out of this opportunity in the next 30 days. Would you want to explore something else? Would you want to do a different role? Would you want to explore a different opportunity outside? I give you the space to transit out in 30 days. Have that conversation.
That's a great answer. So it's not just about punishment if you don't meet the target. It's really about understanding their problem and helping them solve them. Okay, great. All right, can we give Jonathan and Wei-Li a big round of applause? Come on. All right, if you're watching us live, you know, just continue to press the button of love over there. All right, great. All right, I'm going to hand this over to Andrea. Okay, thank you so much. Fantastic.
All right, thank you so much, Wei-Li. Thank you, Jonathan. Can we get a round of applause? Okay, great. Okay, just want to highlight what I really truly learned from it. It's really the moment of survival is about the tactics that you deploy right rather than the long-term strategies you're thinking. So I think that is one thing I took out of it. It's always about the short-term now until this uncertainty is over, then you get back to your main strategy and what you want to go. So that's my one big diamond that I got from it. Okay, so can I get one person to share what you get out of it, other than the people who were actually asking questions? Okay, everyone's like losing eye contact with me. Pastor is pointing someone. Victor, you're my victim.
Well, I think the planning tool, you know, the one that you have the tactical planning, 30, 60, 90 day, I think it just highlights the planning experience for me because internally, we do it as well, but I think a lot of companies find it a hassle actually. So it's good that I see it implemented in other SMEs and other companies. That's my takeaway, that we're on the right track also.
Great, that's an assurance that we all can do the right thing. Okay, great. Okay, so if you enjoyed today's session, next week you're going to come in for another session again. We're gonna be will be Joseph. Okay, can I have a round of applause of Joseph? Joseph actually right now with us over there. Yes, he's in green. So he'll be sharing with us more on this crisis recovery on supply chain fulfillment. Okay, back to essentials on supply chain fulfillment. This is something, if let's say you are in this kind of business whereby you are dealing with a lot of systems and back end kind of thing, I think this is something that you must come. How often do you find someone who is in sort of like been through and seen everything, and he's going to come out and tell you how can you do better?